the Crinear Daybreak. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a tribrid IEM DD2BA 2 microplanar IEM from Crinear, which is a new brand. This is their first full release brand IEM. This was bought with my own money. Let's start by looking at the build quality of this IEM. Build quality is pretty good. Metal nozzle, metal faceplate, it all around has nice contours to the shell. It does not provide any isolation. I will say that it does not really fit super secure in my ear, but it's a fine IEM that's comfortable, but a little bit dainty and a little bit on the small side, but all around comfortable. And non-isolating is the best way I would describe it. It is 2-pin cable connector, and I like the look and kind of the metal ridge around this. Looks nice. So the cable only has an R for the right connector, and the left connector has nothing. If that's a big deal to you, but it's something to note. For those that need a chin slider, this is not it. This chin slider moves around very easily and would not get a recommendation from me if you need a chin slider. The Crinear branded white split is a nice touch. The cable is nice and pretty. It photographs well. It has a little Velcro strap on it. It looks and feels nice. These are easy to take out. This is basically the same cable used on the EPZ P50. So you can pull that out. You can change that back in and change this to a 4.4 if you so choose, which is a nice little touch. And then you just kind of screw it back on. So there you go. I like the case. It looks and feels nice in the hand. I wouldn't say especially premium, but I mean, I've seen these cases before. They kind of magnetically shut. There's not a ton of room in here, but it looks and feels good, and it's a nice addition. So how does the Crinear Daybreak sound? It sounds kind of boring. It has a nice bass. It has a lot of upper mids. The upper mids are done pretty well and pretty standard with a 3K peak, so it's pretty nice. It's pretty decent. The fact is there's not a lot of details to this IEM, and it kind of goes after a tonality which can come across almost too dull, almost too boring for some people. I think that's one of its minor faults. It's not by any means a bad IEM, but it's not hype-worthy. It's not something that people that own other IEMs like the Meta that also Crinear did, or say the Dusk, need to buy. I think this fits in the lineup, and I think it's price appropriate, but let's look at the, the graphs of this IEM and kind of talk more about what I mean about the sound of this IEM. All right, the Crinear Daybreak. Let's look at this guy. Nice looking graph, a lot of upper mids, a little bit of incision peak around 8K, which to me sounds a little bit harsh. That with that 3K peak, like I wish it was a little bit more laid back. And I think like this sharpness point, this sharpness point, this sharpness point, it might be nice to have it a little bit more rolled off. Now I want to first show you a few IEMs of the same driver so you can kind of see like driver memes. They kind of don't really matter, and they're both tuned very differently. First one is the Punch Audio Marlito, or Marlito, however you want to say it. You'll notice that the Marlito has a little bit less, like way less 8K here, and kind of a downward slope graph, where like the Crinear Daybreak kind of, it just kind of has like this sharp V where like it has a lot of bass, it has a lot of upper mids, whereas the Marlito, however you want to say it, kind of has this downward slope. It has a little bit less incision there, and to me it has a little bit more brightness and a little bit more fun, which makes the bass a lot of fun on this IEM. Now, you also have something like the Moondrop Meteor, and the Moondrop Meteor does have a little bit less bass, which I don't really like, but you'll notice like its treble and upper air is done a little bit differently. It's almost like an air-shaped IEM, which depending on what you're looking for, a little bit of air sometimes is a little bit of fun. There's some details that you can kind of miss on tracks, and so that's something to note. Even though it has the same driver, it doesn't have the same tonality. To me, both these IEMs are better than the Daybreak, but I just wanted to share that with you, that I don't think this IEM is a wonder, but I think it's fine. Let's look at the Meta. Like personally, I didn't think I would say this. Like let's normalize this at 500. You notice that Daybreak has a bit more bass, a little bit more upper mids, and I like that extra bass, that little bit more thickness, but I think the upper mids will kind of drown that out a little bit. And so I think it's an okay set. I think it's a good set, but I think it has some problems. And I started really looking at this and thinking about why don't I love this graph? And I think less I am, and I think a lot of it's graph theory and about kind of some of the things that I said. Next one I wanted to show you is the dusk. Now the dusk, this is the DSP, or at least how it measured on my rig. You'll notice has a little bit more bass, a little bit less upper mids, and so that is not what you're getting with the Daybreak. It's not even it at all. It's kind of different. Even the regular version, let's look at that, and you'll notice like it has a little bit less bass, which is okay, but it has way less upper mids, and that's something to note. This is done on a lot of my favorite IEMs, and I like the dusk. I think it's a good IEM. I really enjoy it, but yeah, I think it's I think the dusk is a better IEM than this by a bit. Other IEMs, I want to look at the Truth Ear IEMs, because Truth Ear is kind of the darling, and they recently came out with the new IEM. And you look at something like the Nova, and what you'll notice about the Nova, they both have a nice bass shelf. The Nova does have a lot of upper mids, which for me kind of killed it, but I think that's something to note. One thing to look at is the Pure. And the Pure is the new one and does have less sub bass, less upper mids. Some people are going to like the Pure. I thought it was okay, a little bit dull, a little bit plain water, but that's kind of what plain water sounds to me. If we look at something like the Hexa, same kind of a thing, a little bit, but this has a little bit more upper mids, a little bit more of that fullness 5 to 6K, which I think some people are going to like and some people are going to miss on the Daybreak. Let's look at some other IEMs now. Recently, if you told me 6 months ago, I've been in the hobby for about three plus years now. Big fan of Crin and Zeos. The Jazir X Zeos Review Defiant. If someone told me that the Z Reviews IEM was going to be better than a Crin IEM and that was even cheaper, I would have told them they're full of it. I personally find the Zeos Review Defiant more engaging, and I won't say that about all of Zeos's IEMs, but this particular IEM has a little bit less of that upper mids, a little bit less sub bass, kind of a different approach all around. It's also a lot cheaper, so if you're looking at something a little bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, I fully 100% would recommend the Defiant over the Daybreak, and that gets my vote. Other things to look at, like I've compared this versus the Chopin, and what you'll notice about the Chopin is the Chopin almost has this almost like a bass tuck, almost like the variations, and a little bit of more detail here, a little bit less sub bass, a little bit more mid bass. It's a more fun, engaging signature that I think a lot of people are going to like. It just has engagement and kind of roundness, and it does female vocals really well. If you normalize this at different points, I think it's normalized to 800, but if you look at it around 300, you'll notice that the Chopin has way more bass and a little bit more upper mids. It has some nice details, and I think it's really fun. I really think that the Chopin is a really fun set, and you can get that on sale for about the same price, so it's something to note. Another IEM that I like that came out recently was the Tangent Fission. It's a little bit cheaper. It's nice. You could even look at something like the Keyfine Klein. Is also a really nice set. There's a lot of nice sets coming out in the last few months that are right around that 120 range, and I don't really find it. I find that Daybreak might be a little bit better than the Fission and other IEMs, but it's just not the best IEM overall. Like, again, it feels a little bit too harsh in the bass, a little bit too incisive and piercing, almost like sharpness to the music of when I listen to things, and that's kind of my problem with the Daybreak. It's just too sharp and too resolute almost. I mean, this isn't the graph of the IEM, the Astral. You notice the Astral, yeah, it does have a little bit more air, a different approach to 8K. It feels a little bit more grounded, a little bit less upper mids, and a little bit less sub bass. It's just all around a different kind of approach in general. But I think it's a better IEM, and it's a $300 IEM, so it's not really fair. But I just wanted to show you some of the things that I like and what I'm trying to say. Another one, Zigat Luna, that I really like. It's like my benchmark at 400. What do you notice? Less sub bass, less upper mids. You see a pattern? You see a trend? Another one, same trend. The Awful P7, also a really fantastic IEM. Probably get it on sale for 200. Less upper sub bass here, a little bit less upper mids here, and I mean other things are kind of similar. I think the Performer 7 is just all around better tonality, and that's kind of something to note if you're after what I like. Another IEM that came out that I like myself, like, it's not always about the upper mids, but sometimes it has a little bit more of that sub bass and a little bit more air and detail. Like, I feel like the Daybreak's air and detail could be a little bit more U-shaped, a little bit more interesting. I feel like it's very sterile and a little bit dry, and that's kind of my problem with the Daybreak, despite thinking it's a nice set overall. All right, let's bring this guy up. Crinear's Daybreak. Nice IM, maybe a really good IM depending, but you got stuff like the Juzzy or Defiant that's not too much more. You got stuff like the Tantrum Fission. I think this is a fine IM, and I think it's packaged well, and I think it's a great first IM as a brand, but I think I would change a few things about it. Maybe make it slightly more L-shaped, just kind of dip that teeter-totter a little bit more on the right, and just raise that base up and lower that upper mids. I think it would make it a little bit better in my personal opinion. As a result, I do find the dynamics and overall bass and impact of it good, strong. The mids are also really nice. Its upper treble is decent at best. It doesn't sound like this groundbreaking, soul-crushing, amazing, fantastic IM. And I think with something like the Performer 7, which, you know, is like way up here, you know, you'll notice that like there's a few other IMs that I think you can get for just a little bit more. And even like something like the Zigout Odyssey, I think is something that people are going to like more and I would recommend for. As far as how does this go at its price, I mean, the Daybreak, we're giving it a solid A-. It's a nice set, it's decent, but I think there's other things out there that are better, like the Performer 7 we talked about. We didn't really talk about the Awful Explorer is another set that I really like, that I think does bass really well and just kind of has the nicer approach to upper mids. Stuff like the Chopin, even the Aether. And when I say the Aether, I also mean any good planar. If you find a good planar that really works for you, that you might find a discount on it, like I believe the Aether and the Timeless 2 have the exact same driver. If you find a really good discount or maybe a used unit on one of those, you might really like that IM. It's a fantastic driver and it's really solid. Top IMs by brand, I decided to make one for Crinear because I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing new IMs, and it's a solid IM. You know, the Daybreak is an A-. I actually thought along about the Daybreak and thought, where did I want to have this be? And I thought for a while that, oh yeah, this is a benchmark. It is fully fun and it is a fully good IM, but I can't fully recommend it because I think the treble and the extension and the technicalities, if that's what you want to call them, aren't as strong in the Daybreak because of that piercing shrill upper mids for me. But it's not bad. It's a well done, classy IM, but it lacks that imagination that I wish it had. You know, the tuning that the Daybreak is going after is a difficult tuning to master, and this is an interesting IM. I think it's a well done IM that people are going to like, and I think I see how people who haven't really listened to that many IMs, or you know, maybe only review an IM every other month, might think this is a benchmark. I don't really think this is a benchmark, but I think this is a fine set, and I think if you buy it, it's a good value. I will say that this is available on Linsol, and Linsol does do some pretty steep discounts with if you buy coupons from them, and so there are going to be a lot of steep discounts of this come here on Black Friday and all of that. So I would recommend considering buying this from a site or maybe looking on the used market. With a lot of these IEMs, they will go on sale, and I think if you can get this for a little bit cheaper, it becomes an even better value at its current state. With the market is being what it is, I feel like if you're already willing to pay like almost $200 with shipping or whatever to get this IEM, you'd be willing to pay a little bit more, and there's a lot of other IEMs. Check out my ranking list, ask me any questions, but I think there's other things out there that'll be better for you. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you guys have a great day, and bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!
You're mid, you're mid, you're mid, you're legendary. You're mid, Jaytiss out.